Monday morning, and we're still here. I know, it's amazing, right? Lots of KU sports. None of them were at home, and maybe that didn't help them so much. Volleyball picks up their first loss. Soccer still struggling. Football still really bad, but maybe golf still really good. We'll talk about all that and more to come on Good Morning KU. Welcome back in. No high five this time from Nick, but
it's not that type of morning today.
It is not that type of morning. I spent a long weekend on the road. Lots of travel. We spent more time like in airports and on tarmacs in planes than we actually did in hotels.
Doesn't sound fun.
No, especially when you consider that soccer lost both games they played this weekend. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's start with football, who, as I mentioned, is still really bad, and they still are. Oklahoma State in a game that unfortunately was marred by the horrific events of that homecoming parade, where a woman, for whatever reason, drove her car in the middle of a parade, killing, what, 4 people now?
Yeah,
5
I think
people?
50 people got injured.
5 people,
total.
50 are injured. Really bad situation, but Oklahoma State football, they come together and they beat
no
KU,
problem,
which they were going to do anyway, but
508 yards of total offense, which is ridiculous, and 102 yards of penalties for KU, which is why they lost. Also, second half, only 68 yards of offense.
I mean,
that tells you right there. Like,
Oklahoma State gets more than 68 yards of offense on one drive, and KU gets that in the second half. But Coach Beatty did talk a lot about those penalties, how damaging it was to the team, and how much they struggled with giving away those kinds of yards.
Yeah, it seems when they have something going well for them, there's always a penalty on the other end of that. When they have long runs or interceptions or whatever it is, every time they have something going well for them, something always brings it back.
You always have games like that, but now Kansas, you got to think their best chance to win going forward is K-State, simply because it's a rivalry game, and you never know what's going to happen in a rivalry game.
Yep.
But to me, there's not a lot of hope going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the next best chance, like you said, in this year. It's at home, and also K-State's not as good as they usually are at football this year. So there might be a slight chance, but I'm not saying that it's going to happen.
Also down to their 8th-string quarterback or wherever they're at right now. I mean, they're just picking up guys off the street at this point. So anyway, let's move to volleyball. And usually when we transition from football to volleyball, we're talking about a loss to a win. But for the first time this season, it's a loss to a loss. And volleyball picks up their first loss of the season, but it was against Texas. So you kind of have to, volleyball lost. Well, reel that back a little bit, because Texas, in terms of volleyball, they're like the Alabama of volleyball.
I'm going to give you something to hang your head about. Derek Johnson, the voice of KU volleyball, we all know, he said that KU's top 3 players in ECV, Cassie Waite, and Kelsey Payne would not start on Texas. That's how good they are. That's how big their talent is on their team.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Anise Havili and Kelsey Payne are both from Texas. So you got to believe that if Texas wanted them, that's where they'd be right now.
Exactly.
I mean, Kansas is a great school. Ray Bouchard is a legendary coach, and we have so many great things to offer. But Texas volleyball, if Texas volleyball comes to you and says, hey, look, you're going to play here, are you really going to go anywhere else? I mean, come on.
I mean, what can you say? They're number 2 in the nation. The only loss was to number 1 Penn State, so you can't really say you wouldn't want to go there if you played volleyball. Right,
exactly. I mean, it's just hard to say no to Texas. So, but Kansas volleyball, they've got a chance to turn around. They've got a couple more tune-up games, and then they play Texas again here in the middle of November.
Which I think they have a better chance of, because they play a lot better at home.
Yeah, exactly, and it is at home, and you know that the Horsch Family Athletic Center is going to be loud.
People are going to have to camp out for that game, like they do for basketball.
Oh, no question.
I'm serious.
I would camp out for that game. I won't camp out for basketball.
They
I will camp out for that game.
They go over capacity like for every home game now, so you got to get out there early.
About 1,800 people per game, so go there. It's loud. It is loud, and the great thing about it is that the fans are right on top of the court. It makes it tough for teams like Texas to play there.
Oh yeah, everyone's right on top of you. It's a closed space, very small space. And so the sounds echo.
Let's talk real quickly about swimming, finishing second in their first real meet of the year. They had the crimson and blue meet, but that one doesn't really count. They finished second. It was behind great contributions from some seniors back there. The rest of the fall schedule, they play some tough teams. They already fought DU in that double duel, and DU's a really tough team.
But they did pretty much annihilate Missouri State. So
that is the good news. They won 5 events on their first day, so lots to build on from there.
And there was a record-setting performance by Chelsea Miller in the 400-meter medley. So
the team she's a senior, one of the 4, and the team is really going to struggle when they lose her. But
definitely,
that's being a college team. Let's now transition finally to a team that won something, and it was golf. Men's golf, to be exact, finishing first again. It's the second time this year, and a record-setting performance by Ben Welly.
Yeah, he shot a 64 on the last day. That's the second lowest total ever for a Kansas men's golfer in the history of the golf program. So very impressive. Also, 4 of the 6 golfers they brought finished under par as well. So very impressive. Chase Hanna also played really well, -9, and Charlie Healer, the freshman from New Zealand, -7. So pretty impressive performances by all the golfers this weekend.
You were touting Charlie Healer here in the beginning of the season, saying how great he was. Well,
he's there now.
Hey, you got it right. I'm not going to say anything. For me, Brock Dragish was the one that was kind of the X factor. I mean, you know what Chase Hanna and Ben Welly are going to bring to the table, and Connor Peck and Hudson as well. And I was thinking, hey, Brock Dragish is that 5th guy. You know, Coach Bermel's really high on him, but
we haven't seen him much this year.
I'm beginning to think maybe he's injured or something going on, because he was in their 5 that went even to the regionals for last year. So for him to be in that 5 and not be ever in these tournaments, not even as an individual, I think there might be an injury there or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can only hope that's the problem, because he was really good for them last year, and so Charlie Healer's kind of sticking in that 5 with Connor Peck.
But he's filling in beautifully.
He is. You can see, -7.
No question at all.
Can't get any better than that.
Let's round it up here with women's golf? Let's talk women's golf.
Let's do it. Yeah, they're down in Palo Alto, down in South Carolina for this. They're only at day 1 right now, but
and I think they're sitting in 7th.
They're sitting in 7th. So
I will say though, in your women's golf, you point Coin up there. No matter where you are, if she drops like a 67 like she did,
63.
If she drops a 63.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're sitting. All you got to do basically is just hang with her, and she's going to carry your team.
You just got to be around the score she's at. You're good.
That's exactly and I think that's what Coach Aaron O'Neill has basically said. She said, okay, as long as everyone just kind of stays in that 70 to 75 range, we're going to let Moog carry us. That's kind of the plan of the team right now, and that's not a bad thing.
And it's working so far. So they're doing pretty well with Moog carrying them. So.
No question. Yeah. We've got more KU soccer coming up. We've got soccer beat writer Skylar Rolstad, plus a decision day in the MLS that was a dramatic one for Sporting KC, and he'll talk about that as well. You're watching Good Morning KU.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back into Good Morning KU, and joining me is Skylar Rolstad, beat writer for Kansas Soccer, so thanks for joining us. Let's talk here, really the only storyline for Kansas Soccer now with 1 game to play. Can they make the NCAA tournament? They've already punched their ticket to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. To you, is it possible? And if it is, what do they have to do?
Yeah, I think it's still possible. With the Big 12 tournament coming up, anything is possible if you can make a run in that. But as things are looking right now, if we're making a prediction, it's not looking too good. With those 2 losses, I think those were games that you really could have counted on Kansas to win. With a 1-0 loss to Texas Tech and a 2-0 loss to Oklahoma State over the weekend.
Yeah, no, those are tough results, and that's something, Coach Francis going in says, hey, we win these 3 games. If they win those 3 games, they control their own destiny to finish second in the Big 12, because all you need is Texas to lose once, and they play a tough schedule on the way out. So you're saying, okay, we win 3 games here, we're in a good position to get second in the Big 12. It should be good enough with 11 wins. Now you're looking at 9 wins to finish the regular season if you beat TCU, which is not a given. TCU's a good team. They have to beat them at home on senior night. And then at that point, you go into the Big 12 tournament. At the minimum, what do you think? Semifinals? Do you have to get to the finals of the Big 12 tournament to be sure you're in the NCAA tournament? I mean, what do they have to do?
I think for Kansas, right now you probably have to get into the finals, maybe the semifinals. We'll see what happens in the game against TCU. That's the last game of the regular season, and it should be an easy win.
You would hope.
And it's one of those games that you really have to come in and prove that you deserve to be in the tournament in the first place. And if they get a big, resounding win in that game, then maybe their chances are a little bit better.
I would hope so. It's the first time this season that Kansas has been shut out 3 games in a row. And by defenses, I mean Texas Tech's good, and obviously West Virginia is one of those teams. But you don't expect to be shut out by Oklahoma State. Probably not even by Texas Tech, even though they are ranked. They're the only other ranked team. But as Coach Francis said, the Big 12 tournament it's a crapshoot. Iowa State's down at the bottom; they're not going to go. Then you have West Virginia up at the top, and who's going to beat West Virginia in this conference, really? But the rest of the teams, basically 2 through 8, it's anybody's game in the Big 12 tournament. Who presents the biggest threat for Kansas when they get there?
The biggest threat for Kansas? Besides West Virginia, well, right now we're looking at Kansas playing probably Oklahoma or Baylor in the first game, and I think that's going to be difficult. Oklahoma really pushed Kansas to the limit in the regular season. Baylor did the exact same thing. So it's those games. I think the first games are going to be really difficult. They're going to be the most difficult, especially coming off of this slump. But if you get a win and build up some momentum, then maybe the next ones are a little bit easier to find a rhythm and start scoring goals.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, it all starts, and you have to win that TCU game, you would imagine, right? I mean, that has to be a W going into the Big 12 tournament.
I think that's what we're all expecting, and we expected wins over the weekend, obviously, but TCU is last in the conference, and if that game is difficult at all, then it's not a good outlook going into the postseason.
Fair enough. Well, let's shift to another postseason. Let's talk MLS Decision Day. That was yesterday, and it was a dramatic one because Sporting KC, they needed a win, right, to make the playoffs, which even 2 months ago seemed like, oh, they're going to make the playoffs. Who's going to think about it? But there was that stretch where they play games in the MLS and they play games in the CONCACAF Champions League, and then they play games in the not the Gold Cup. What am I saying? They're playing games in the U.S. Open Cup, and so they hit this poor run of form. You were there last night, right? So what was the attitude like?
The attitude was they came out and played really well, and after the game, most of the players said they weren't even thinking about the other results because if they took care of business on that night themselves, they would make it to the playoffs. So it was the team really came out, and after giving up the equalizing goal, it was one-way traffic going to LA's goal.
Dom Dwyer was the one that ended up putting that in. What was his reaction after the game? How did he feel?
I actually didn't get a chance to see Dom after the game, but it's been a little bit since he scored, and it was a good finish, but I think it was an even better pass from Benny Feilhaber.
I mean, that's what he's been doing all year, kind of like that X factor on the team. You talk about a guy that makes him go. Benny Feilhaber all year has been that guy. Preview the matchup now. Portland Timbers, it's going to be on the road. What is that going to be like? What is Sporting KC? Give me one factor that they have to do. They have to do this one thing in order to beat Portland.
The one thing that they have to do, I would say, is establish possession in the midfield because Portland's offense is very, very good, and they're a good team at home, a very good team at home, playing on a very small field. So you have to make sure that you lock them down defensively. And going into the playoffs, I think it's kind of funny that Sporting has been in pretty bad form at the end of the regular season because going into the playoffs, both of the matchups that are possible are really, really good for Sporting. Portland is not really that great of a team, and Sporting matches up with them well. And then if they win that game, they play FC Dallas, who's the best team in the conference, but Sporting has beaten them 6-2 and 4-0 this season, so that is obviously an extremely good matchup.
Yep. I think no matter how you play it, it's going to be a fun playoffs, no matter what. This is a Western Conference team that's stacked full of great teams, and teams like Seattle, who you think, oh, they're perennial number one. Well, they are in the play-in round right now. So it's going to be a fun playoff. What matchup are you looking forward to the most?
The matchup I'm looking forward to the most, I would say, is I'm going to go with Sporting versus Timbers, because it's two teams that you know that they're good, but they've probably underachieved quite a bit. So I'm just going to be really excited to see who can come out of that one.
I'm excited for that too, although you have Galaxy Sounders. You can't look past that one. That's going to be a great one.
Totally.
That's going to be a great one.
I don't pick that one because they make that matchup happen every single time, and I've just seen it too many times.
Fair enough. Skylar Rolstad, writer for Reporting KC, beat writer on the University of Kansas for Kansas Soccer. He is the soccer guy. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Griffin.
Coming up, we got more interviews after the break with SUA. Stay with us.
Shop local in the heart of the city, you support the people that make our community thrive. The money you spend here stays here, in this place we call our home. Lawrence, Kansas, where there's good old-fashioned hometown pride. Eat local, drink local, shop local.
Welcome back to Good Morning KU. This morning we have two very special guests with us from SUA. This is Garrison Krotz and Rachel Asbury. They're from the new executive team for SUA for the upcoming semester. So walk us through kind of how you guys got your positions that you're in now.
Great. So you start off getting your position as an executive officer by applying. So you're going to fill out an application and submit your resume, and also input a letter of recommendation. Then afterwards, you're going to go through an interview process, and then they'll call you and tell you if you have the position.
So what are your guys' individual positions on the team this year?
Great. So right now I serve as SUA Live Music Coordinator, but I will be serving next semester, starting this November actually, as president of SUA.
And I was Special Events Coordinator, and I will be serving as Vice President of Communications.
Great. So how long have you guys both been in SUA?
Great. Yeah, I've been in SUA now for a year and a half. Then I'll be serving as SUA President for the next 2 semesters.
I've been in a year and a half as well, and so I will be serving my position for 2 more semesters too.
Awesome. So what kind of benefits would you say come with being a coordinator or assistant coordinator, and how do people get into those positions?
I think besides we get a scholarship, there's a big sense of community with SUA, so I think we all kind of feel like a big family, kind of all the perks of having a small town without the bad things of having a small town. And to apply, leadership applications are actually open now. And so if you would like to apply, go to suaevents.com/apply. They're open until Wednesday at midnight, and so you'll just fill out a short application, submit your resume, and then you get to meet with us. So.
Great. So what are some of the events that are coming up soon this semester?
We have called
the Walls. Yeah, so that's going to be a documentary about a mural artist who travels around Kansas City and Lawrence and paints. It's a good way to kind of see the artistry that happens locally. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
Nice. I know that there has also been, or upcoming is Dia de los Muertos. That's on November 6th at 7 p.m. And then what's up with the Hogwarts event that's coming up soon?
Yeah, Yule Ball. Yule Ball's going to be great. Definitely dress up as your favorite Harry Potter character. We have little like pins that have your house that you would want to be in on there too. So what that's going to be is a film we're going to be showing the Goblet of Fire with actually houses like the Yule Ball within the movie. But it's all Harry Potter themed. We'll have it all set up as if you're actually there in the Hogwarts castle.
Yeah, it's going to be interactive. You can walk through. They have things like the Forbidden Forest and Diagon Alley and things like that. And food. Free food.
Yeah, lots of food.
So what have some of the other events that we put on this semester looked like? Like, what about Vic Mensa, Lauren Potter? I know those have been really big events this semester.
Yeah, Lauren Potter just happened. It was great. Definitely inspiring for me. I almost teared up a few times, not gonna lie. But
and Lauren loved Garrison. She came up to Garrison and was like, "Oh, you're cute."
Yeah, but Vic Mensa was awesome too. I think we had, it's at the Lead Center, we had around 505 people show up for the event. It was pretty packed. We had the pit full. It was a really exciting show, and Vic put on a really great time for everybody that was there.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, check out the SUA calendar for more upcoming events, and we'll be back with Chloe and Maggie with the news.
Hi, I'm Maggie Brown.
And I'm Chloe Coward, and this is your Monday morning Good Morning KU News Update. Tragedy spoiled the Oklahoma State homecoming weekend in Stillwater after a car crashed into the homecoming parade, killing 4 people and injuring nearly 50. 25-year-old Adacia Chambers has now been charged with 4 counts of second-degree murder in addition to suspicion of drinking under the influence. According to USA Today, authorities no longer believe Chambers has been drinking, but was clearly suffering from some type of mental illness.
Hurricane Patricia was not as destructive as feared, but its remnants are now taking their toll on Texas and Louisiana. There were no deaths reported over the weekend in Mexico, but torrential rain has increased flooding in Texas. Forecasts call for 8 inches of rain to fall in New Orleans today.
A rare American eel somehow found its way up the Mississippi and Missouri rivers into Lawrence. A man caught the 30-inch eel near Bowerstock Dam earlier this fall. According to the Kansas Department of Wildlife, this type of eel spawns in the Atlantic Ocean.
A new Leonardo da Vinci exhibit has opened at Union Station in Kansas City. The exhibition includes 65 fully built life-size designs in addition to 20 fine arts displays. This exhibit runs through May 1st and also includes specific areas for children.
Governor Sam Brownback's approval ratings have fallen again. According to the new poll from Docking Institute of Public Affairs, at Fort Hays State, only 18% of Kansans are happy with the governor. More than 61% believe that Brownback's tax policies have failed. The survey took place September 14th through October 5th.
Everyone is eagerly awaiting to see what happens today on Ellen DeGeneres' show. According to Twitter, the show plans to create some type of social media event on campus today around noon. Ellen herself will not be here, but students are asked to follow Twitter throughout the morning for additional information.
And that will wrap it up for today's news update. Please keep watching, and after the break, Maggie Stout will be here to tell us just how cold it's going to get this week. Stay tuned.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back to Good Morning KU. You have Maggie set outside. Maggie, how's it feeling out there? A little bit chilly this morning.
It's a little chilly. It's actually a good 46 degrees right now, but in the sun it feels a lot better. So if you're outside, walk in the sunny parts of campus. You'll feel so much better.
How's it going to look later today? Is it going to continue to be sunny like you said?
Yeah, it is going to be sunny all day today, and it's going to warm up to a wonderful 60 degrees. It really is going to be a beautiful fall day. So bundle up now, but later in the day, you'll be good to go.
Everyone's excited for Game 1 of the World Series tomorrow night at Kauffman. How's the weather looking for tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night it's going to be cold, and unfortunately the Royals might be interrupted with a bit of rain. It's supposed to rain tomorrow during the day and then carry on into the night. I hope not. It might end earlier, but maybe a little bit of chance of rain for them tomorrow night, and it will be also in the 40s during the game. So if you're lucky, bundle up.
Yeah, bundle up for that Royals game. How about this weekend of Halloween? There's a lot of people going around, a lot of sporting events coming on, a lot of parties.
Yeah, it's a great
how's it
fun
gonna
weekend for homecoming and Halloween, but it is also supposed to rain this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the temperatures will be beautiful in the 50s and 60s. Saturday, maybe not as much rain, but Friday there's a 60% chance of rain, and Sunday. So maybe Saturday will be clear for all of us homecoming, Halloween goers. Let's hope.
That's good, because I remember last year during Halloween it was freezing cold outside, so it'll be good. It's actually nice weather for Halloween this year. Maggie, thank you, and thank you for tuning in to Good Morning KU. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Stay tuned until then.